Where am I? What's up everybody, AnimeX here, and in this video I'll be doing, yet another part. I'll be continuing my first Bleach What If series since you guys hit the like goal of 200 likes. Obviously I have to raise the like goal a bit in order to really challenge you guys, so I'll just shoot like goal all the way up to 300, and then you'll get another part to this immediately. Just like usual, I'll be recapping the last part and jumping right into the What If, so without further ado, let's get started. Now, in the last part of this What If, we see in the beginning of the series, in the beginning of the events of Naruto unfold similar to how they do in the original. The difference was that when Ichigo went to go save Naruto from Mizuki, he met this strange girl injured, and he also saw this large monster looming over her. After he attempted to help her, he gained a newfound power, strength, and speed, and even got a super cool, huge sword that's bigger than him. After this, Naruto and Ichigo met up back at Naruto's home, and Ichigo's home, of course, to find that the weird girl was in their home, and she offers to explain everything, and that's where we'll jump right into it. When Ichigo drops the mystery girl onto the ground and helps her up, he asks what her name is. She hesitates at first to give her name, although she does decide that while she's in their home, she needs to somewhat abide by the rules of their house, and so she says that her name is Rukia Kuchiki with a sense of pride that neither Ichigo nor Naruto completely understand at the moment. They brush this off though and start barraging Rukia with questions. Ichigo shotguns her with questions like, who is she? What did she do to him? What did he fight the other day? Why is his sword so big? Why is his clothes changed? Why was he invisible? Why was he stronger and faster than before? And why could Naruto see him when no one else could? And during this barrage of questions, Naruto chimes in with a very important question every once in a while, like, hey, are you single? When when she hears this, she just looks at him funny, and so does Ichigo. And Naruto then feels the intensity in the room and starts looking away, whistling to himself and minding his own business. After that exchange, Rukia goes into explaining Hollow, Soul Reapers of Soul Society, and everything that Ichigo had asked. And while she's answering all of these questions, Ichigo hears a knock at the door, and when he's asked to hear who it is, he hears that it's Orihime who brought them some food. So before he opens the door, he grabs Rukia, throws her into a spare room so Orihime won't notice a strange girl in their house, and after that he tells Naruto to keep Rukia in there for now. So Ichigo, in a rush, opens the door, greets Orihime, thanks her for the food, and as Orihime is on the way out, he closes the door very slowly, and then sighs slowly as he is relieved he didn't have to deal with that conversation. Then he goes to get Rukia, and as he turns a corner into the room, he sees a hand approaching him very quickly, and as soon as he gets hit by this hand, his body drops to the floor and his spirit comes out. And it's just standing right above him. When Naruto sees this confused, and then Rukia picks up Ichigo's body, hands it to Naruto, and tells him to follow her. After that, she runs out of the house and starts booking it towards the forest area of the town. Once they get there, Rukia tells Ichigo to watch out. As soon as she says this, a hollow comes out of nowhere and is about to attack Rukia until Ichigo jumps in the way and splits the hollow with ease. After this, Rukia says the first part of his training will commence in the forest so nobody can see them. And then Rukia throws Ichigo's body at him, tells him to attach his spirit to his body while retaining his Soul Reaper abilities. The reason he needs to do this is because it'll be useful for fighting physically based enemies, being the ones in this world, like regular ninja and that type of stuff. He'll need a physical form. Any higher than that, and also he needs a physical form though. The drawback of this ability to limit himself to the physical form will be limiting his 50% of his normal power due to the restraints of being in a physical body. Any higher than that, and Ichigo's at risk of ripping apart his physical form with spiritual pressure. And as Rukia is explaining the technique and describing how long it could take some weirdo like Ichigo to learn how to do this, Ichigo's merging his body and keeps the Shuhakusho and along with the retardedly long sword, learning this in a couple of minutes. Narukia sees this, her jaw drops just due to the fact that Soul Reapers usually take a week before they can learn the concept of Tenpu. Now, for all of you that don't know about Bleach, I created the form Tenpu because it means attachment in Japanese. This is needed to interact with the Naruto verse in the way I want it to, so just keep that in mind. Anyways, mastering this ability, he and Naruto just start messing around, speeding around each other, although Ichigo isn't attacking Naruto, just due to his sword size and he doesn't want to harm Naruto. After they are done, Rukia says his next challenge is to take down 100 hollows before the week is over, and after that, he disappears off, which just kind of leaves with Naruto and Rukia alone. As soon as he leaves, Naruto leans over and asks, you never answered my question earlier. Are you available? Or then Rukia just scoffs at him and walks away. This leaves Naruto just standing in the middle of the woods until he hears a strange sound and runs after Rukia scared. And when Rukia and Naruto get back to the village, they see that Ichigo is leaning on his sword, breathing extremely hard, and he's all bruised and cut up. When they ask what happened, he just points his sword in front of them, and Rukia is able to see 10 hollows all wreaking havoc on the village, or at least attempting to, but they're right now kind of down and trying to get back up. She then is about to tell Ichigo to do his job, but she remembers that he's at 50% of his strength, meaning that he's nowhere near capacity and nowhere near his full spiritual pressure and stamina. But Ichigo says that he's already slain half the group, although he's really surprised that there were so many in one bunch. When one of the hollows is about to send an attack at a couple of unsuspecting villagers, Ichigo releases Tenpu, so his body drops to the ground, and Ichigo's spirit flies out of his body full of energy and rejuvenated in terms of raw stats and Ryatsu. So when this happens, Ichigo absolutely tears through the hollows with relative ease. In fact, for how new Ichigo is at this, he's actually too good for it to make sense. That's the thoughts that are going through Ruki's head at the time. But before she can do much to put it into thought, before she can put too much thought into the idea, she's suddenly surrounded by 5 hollows that seemingly came out of nowhere. She tries firing off a Kido at the hollows to blow them to bits, but when she chants and releases the Kido, all it does is pushes the hollow away from her. Ichigo then appears between her and the hollows. With a swift swing, he takes out the group of 5 rather quickly. Now, even though Ichigo is able to take out these hollows with relative ease, she knows that his strength is tied to his spiritual pressure, or his Ryatsu, so he won't be able to keep this pace up for long, or at least that's what she thought. But it seems that to be with every attack, Ichigo is getting more and more tired, but Ichigo's drive to win and his winning demeanor seems to be enough to sustain him throughout the fight. So, about 50 hollows later, Ichigo finally runs out of Ryatsu, but that's when all the hollows have also disappeared from the village. Ichigo's soul flies back into his body, and when this happens, Ichigo feels even more fatigued than when he was a soul. So he doesn't even have the strength to get up off the floor. When Ichigo realizes that this is the case, he asks Naruto to carry him home, and when he doesn't respond and only Rukia does, she just says that Naruto went to go take some tests while Ichigo's fighting the hollows. With the rest of the team, Ichigo then freaks out because he just remembered something, so he has to tell Rukia to force him out of his body again, which he does. Ichigo uses Tenpu to reattach himself and head to the Hokage's office as soon as possible, because he needs to tell Lord Third something. When he gets to Hokage's office, he decides to just run straight in there instead of waiting for an appointment or be allowed there. Ichigo then tells Lord Third about the events of the Hollow, turning into a Soul Reaper, all that stuff, all basically Shinigami Soul Reaper stuff. And when he says this, he expects to be called crazy, or at least Lord Third to be weirded out. But Third Hokage just smiles, takes the smoke pipe out of his mouth, and asks, "What took you so long?" This confuses Ichigo, and when he asks what he means, the third Hokage says that of course he knows about all that stuff, and so do many trusted people that live within all the villages around the world. Ichigo is just shocked for a minute, but it does make sense that someone would notice all the weird stuff in the world, these spiritual entities bodying and moving around things all over the world. Now, when Ichigo says he wants to keep his home and his brother safe, so he asks her for a huge favor. When he asks this, it makes sense for him, although he isn't sure if there are enough people like him out there, but he'll do his best to fulfill the request. The next day, he comes home to see Naruto on the floor and Rukia asleep on their bed. Now, while their entire house is a mess, Ichigo just takes one look at the place, and just when he's about to get angry at the mess that Naruto has made, he sees that Naruto still has his Genin Ninja Handband, so he knows that he passed the test with that weird Jonin guy. When he sees this, he's okay with Naruto making a mess just this once, and just when he's about to kick Rukia off his bed so he can sleep there, a letter slides under the door saying that his request has been fulfilled, and Ichigo just smiles and runs out of the house and heads toward the academy to see how this is all going to play out. So when he gets to the academy, he sees some people that he recognizes. He sees Orihime, Chad, who is a personal friend of his, and also he sees this weird guy with glasses, and a bow that looks like it's made out of Ryatsu. When Ichigo sees this, he's kind of confused, but he keeps this to himself. When everyone sees Ichigo walk into the building, Orihime gets flustered, Chad just has a faint smile, and the glasses guy looks at Ichigo with pure contempt, not rage, more disgust than anything, although Ichigo doesn't really understand why. But before anyone can say a word about that, the third Hokage steps into the room, and his presence is kind of like stopping everybody else from talking. And he starts explaining why they're there, and Ichigo and the glasses guy pick up on everything he says pretty quickly, but Orihime and Chad are confused since this is the first time they're hearing of this type of stuff. Ichigo just raises his sword after Lord Third finishes speaking, and Ichigo says, let's just get to why we're here, let's just get right to the point. And then the third Hokage just chuckles and says, well, you're getting assigned a team. And that, everybody, is where I'm going to end part 2 to the What If Naruto What If Naruto and Ichigo Were Brothers series. If you guys want another part, the like goal is 300 likes. If you liked the video and haven't already done so, consider subscribing and hitting the bell for more Bleach and Naruto What Ifs. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, guys, this is AnimeX, signing off.